Hey everyone, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So for today's pick a card, it was suggested by, I think they're a subscriber, but Artemis. It's what is your life in 5 years from now, or your life 5 years ahead? It's interesting because I recently did a reading with this with my friend, so I totally know how I'm going to have this reading set up and everything. We're going to be covering in the beginning of the reading kind of like the next couple months ahead. And also that's kind of a continuation of where you are now. Then we have a year ahead, and then we'll have 5 years ahead. So projecting little points down the line. Yeah, let's get into the reading. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm just going to be covering like blessings and things happening in 5 years from now. If there's some pain points or something like that, I'm also going to try to bring those up. But I'll bring them up in the most constructive way possible so we can always like learn a lesson. And just so you guys know, with a tarot reading, it's not necessarily that this thing is going to happen, but you can prevent certain things from happening if you change the course of your lives from receiving a reading. So it's just reading the current energies. So keep that in mind. Specifically, especially with this reading, this is kind of going to be more focused on like that path trajectory of like where you are now. So let's get into the reading. I pulled some cards from this deck today for our indicator cards instead of crystals, which is a mediumship training deck by John Holland and Lauren Rainbow. I got this deck a long time ago. I rarely use it, but I love the imagery on it. And so I picked 4 beautiful cards for us today. So I'll show you those cards now. We have group 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I will show you the close-ups right now. We have our first one, Nature's Healing Power is group 1. Then for group 2, we have Trance Dance. For group 3, we have Moments of Gratitude. And last, group 4, we have The Wonder of Colors. So take all the time you need to pick your pile. You can pause the video here if you need to. Yeah, and with that said, in just a little bit, we're going to get started with group number 1. Oh yeah, timestamps are below in the description box, and I try to post some timestamps in the comments as well. So hopefully the timestamps are finding you guys well. And let's get into group number 1 with Nature's Healing Power. Hey group 1. Hey group 1. This is if you chose Nature's Healing Power, your card right here, this lovely tree with these cherry blossoms. They look like cherry blossoms on the tree. Let's get into your reading. So we have, I pre-drew oracle cards and tea leaf cards for this reading ahead of time. So I'm going to give you those now. This is going to be for over in this area. We have year 1, or not, first couple months, year 1, and 5 years. So for your card for first year, we have Broken Open. For the first year, we have Great and Full. And for the third year, we have Higher View. Perfect. Now I drew 2 tea leaf cards for each of these, and I'm going to shuffle and draw out a tarot card for clarification for all of these as well. So for Broken Open, for the first couple months, we have Beau, you are highly thought of and successful outcome to your problems. Key. Then we have for year 1, we have Cain, pay attention to your health and feeling tied down or frustrated. Yoke. And last, for a Higher View, we have these cards. We have Tortoise, slowly but surely getting ahead, and Dog barking, advice from a friend. So these are basically the main gist of your energies for this reading. Let's get those tarot cards and we will shuffle those right now. Oh, I just saw one. I'm going to take it. It was the 9 of Pentacles. I'm taking that for next couple months, basically. Let's see what else comes out. Okay, we have the Six of Pentacles in year 1. And in year 3, we have the Ace of Swords. Perfect. Okay, what I also want to draw for you guys, it doesn't really fit in the screen or the view of all these cards, but I also want to draw a Love Story Oracle for all the piles. I just kind of really am called to draw a card for each pile. We have Fun and we have Friendship. I'm going to take both of those. Hopefully those are both kind of in the screen. Let's see if we can adjust some things here. I know it's getting a little crowded for this reading. I just wanted to get a lot of information to go off of. I also wanted to have this candle. Felt like creating a mood today. Yeah, and I'm glad I drew these cards. This is like pouring out more information for me for this third or this final 5 years ahead. Okay, let's get into your reading. So first, one thing I want to point out with Nature's Healing Power, the card that you selected, the first thing that's coming to my mind with this card, with the cherry blossoms and the tree and stuff, well, first of all, with the phrase Nature's Healing Power, I feel like recently you may have had some encounters with nature or been in kind of some natural settings and felt kind of like the true benefits of being outdoors or in nature. It almost looks like an ocean behind here or a lake or something. So maybe you were dealing with a lake, or you really saw the beauty in some trees, or maybe you have like dealt with being with some trees recently, or you've kind of like explored nature and natural surround settings. This could also be a sign that you're like craving nature, right? That you're kind of craving going out into those natural settings. Something about the world right now and how you are right now, you're craving like going to these natural places. This could also just mean if you pick this card, you have a feeling and affinity for nature. So just a few things with this first card. May not really including it in most of the reading, but the rest of the reading we'll get into right now. So first off, in the next couple of months, I definitely see that for a lot of you, you have this pressure building right now. Like there's something going on, and you might actually have physical buildup, like a physical pressure, like maybe migraines or headaches or something like that. But there's this certain pressure, and it's not familiar. You really haven't felt it in either. You really haven't felt it in a while, or it's really getting to the point where it's just like overwhelming these days. And it could be metaphorical pressure as well. It could be pressure from the outside. I'm seeing for some of you, it's pressure for you to conform to standards of what's going on outside you. Maybe people are acting a specific way and the universe is just like conform, give in, all that kind of stuff, right? And I definitely see that you're like holding yourself in a position of strength and stoicism almost right now and currently. What we see here in the next couple of months, though, with Broken Open, a really beautiful thing happens where there is some kind of like crack in the armor, and you definitely lets you a little bit of yourself shine out. Now, I'm seeing for most of you, this is kind of going to be accidental. It's not going to be something that you are intending or planning. It's almost like there's so much pressure that there's almost like a sense that there's like something building inside you, or there's a light inside you basically that you're not showing people. And because of this outside pressure, it's like people need to see this light to like release that pressure, right? So almost as like when the pressure gets too much, there's something that slips out basically with Broken Open. I'm definitely seeing this glowing light inside this woman, and her sitting on this lotus flower. It's almost like she's letting herself shine for the first time in quite a while. And so the pressure basically just needs a release. And so in the next couple months, you're learning how to release this pressure or this tension inside you, and it really is opening up this sense of expressiveness, and it's almost like contagious in a sense. Basically, a lot of your problems that you've been struggling with, or a lot of things that you're dealing with currently right now, like that are just weighing on your mind, these are going to be a lot of small things that could be resolved in a month or two. So if you're having like big major problems that need like years to take care of, these are not going to be those problems. But we do have successful outcome to your problems with key. And I'm definitely seeing with open, the whole idea of key and open, and the idea of like a key opening a door or a key opening a lock or something like that. I'm definitely seeing that this kind of successful outcome is also what is kind of opening you up to the outside world, basically. Letting yourself shine, letting your personality shine, letting your true self out. there's something really cool here with you are highly thought of, where like basically the more you let yourself out, the more people are attracted to you. And you're kind of seeing this, you're kind of like, whoa, this is intense, but I kind of like it. You know, it's interesting because it's like you finally feel like you can share certain parts of yourself, because on one hand, you're getting the solutions to your problems. You're getting the things you need to take care of everything in daily life that is weighing you down, basically, or putting that pressure on you. And so it's almost like there's a pep in your step, I guess you could say. There's kind of like a little bit of happiness coming in the next couple months. Yeah, and with you are highly thought of, I definitely see you kind of like gaining popularity, not necessarily in the realms of like having more friends or something like that, but I'm definitely seeing you gaining popularity in the fact that other people's opinions of you are going to be high. You're going to exude kind of this like confidence or charisma that kind of changes how people view you. Not necessarily who wants to be your friend or who wants to kind of get close with you and kind of like hang out with you and kind of bask in it, but people are going to be like, whoa, that's a good person. Or whoa, they have something special about them that's just kind of like, you know, people just can't quite put their finger on it, but they think very highly of you. And something that's successful is happening to you as well. We see this here with the Nine of Pentacles as your transition card into year one, right? There's something about becoming really successful. With successful outcome to your problems, you've worked through these things. And because you're opening up and because you're sharing yourself, there's something about like a lot of success coming your way. Basically, you'll be able to luxuriate in this new success. I've definitely seen you coming to like some kind of breakthrough coming up pretty soon, where you're kind of like feeling yourself. You're like feeling more like yourself. You're feeling yourself and it's showing. You're kind of having this glow up. You're glowing basically. I see with Nine of Pentacles, like I said, with you are highly thought of, I don't see you like collecting friends in this period of time. I'm seeing you like obviously still maintaining your current friendships and stuff like that, or having your normal fluctuations in friendships. But I'm definitely seeing this is a more independent period of your life, you know, where you're kind of like really highly successful and you're almost viewed as like this ideal person to be, basically. Like a lot of people almost like are envious of your life in a sense. Like they're kind of like looking at you thinking like, you know, I really want to like be like them, or like, how can I get what they have in a sense? You just kind of have this glow, and really, it's just because there was so much pressure on you for so long of like not opening up, that when you're finally releasing that, you're kind of letting out that part of you that kind of attracts people to you. And so just, I would say just enjoy it. I definitely see this as kind of a time in your life where the world around you kind of seems positive, kind of happy in general, kind of like nothing can really go wrong. People are like valuing you at every step of the way. Little interactions, like maybe, you know, someone gives you a free drink or something at like a coffee shop, or maybe someone, gives you a discount on something, or like gives you the inward deal on something, you know? And with this Nine of Pentacles, I'm definitely seeing you luxuriating in this wealth. Something about business is coming to, for some of you, that there's like some kind of successful business outcome. Maybe you're dealing with some problems right now and you don't know how you're going to overcome them, but you're going to basically figure this out at the same time you're opening up your personality. And it really leads to this kind of successful, materialized, luxuriating, kind of just letting yourself enjoy life moment. When it comes to the year one, basically, some time has passed, and with Great and Full, we see something about you kind of like taking care of your health. I definitely see that maybe luxuriating or celebrating in this period of time leads to some kind of like, I wouldn't say health consequences. I'm just saying that like maybe in a way you're kind of like letting yourself go a little bit, or you're kind of like enjoying like maybe food too much, or maybe you're drinking too much or something like that. There's something about overindulging the body a little bit. But I'm seeing here that this is overall a really good thing, and it never gets out of control in the next, up until the next year. But it definitely, with Cain, pay attention to your health. This is kind of the cards basically saying that there's going to be a certain point where you're going to start to feel some ill effects on your actual physical health in a year from now. And the reason that this is, it's basically because it's basically saying that like you're great and full, like you have the full energy, you filled yourself up, like you were broken open, and then the world kind of filled you back up with with like all this goodness. And so in a year from now, you have this goodness and it's about to like expand and express yourself again. I'm definitely seeing there's like little moments of expressing yourself along your journey that are really key here. We also have yoke, feeling tied down or frustrated. This can be with your health and with your physical body. In a year from now, you might feel like your physical body is not enough. And what do I mean by that? Like maybe you are remembering times when you were like, I'm going to use a really young age here, like 5 years old, and you could just sprint across the football field and like not feel a thing, or you could fall down and like just get back up and not really have any effect of that. I'm definitely seeing that you're feeling the effects of kind of like your lifestyle on your body a little bit. And feeling tied down or frustrated can also be in accordance with whatever work stuff you have. For those of you who are in business over here, you might be feeling a little bogged down in a year from now about this current job. Maybe it's not exactly all it's cracked up to be, or there's something about it that's just weighing you down. And I'm definitely saying that this is definitely a mood, because by year 5, you're like moving along basically, whether it's in a different job or the same job, you're in a really good place in year 5. Yeah, the cards are just urging you that you're so filled up with like goodness. You're so filled up with support. You're so filled up with confidence that it's time to express that in a physical form, right? With pay attention to your health and feeling tied down or frustrated, a lot of this can be overcome by, getting out and like getting some exercise, or like taking care of yourself, or even with Great and Full, as far as the business goes, it might be one of those things where you've kind of been accumulating wealth for a while now, or you've been accumulating something either in your body or in your business, and it's time to express it or send it out. This would be a great time with the 6 of Pentacles here to teach others or give to others. Because I definitely see this transition period into year 5 where you become a more generous person, a more giving person, someone who kind of sees a need, or someone who has a need and you fulfill it for them, or you're kind of also aware of your own needs, and when you have your own need, you get it fulfilled from someone else. It's really this kind of catalyst that happens in a couple months from now, where you kind of build this kind of connection and camaraderie with people, which I see that it might have been a struggle for you in the past a little bit to build this kind of like admiration from others. I definitely see you getting this kind of admiration. I just don't see you expecting it taking this kind of toll on your health. Now, this is all like good news, basically. This is just kind of like a little warning that when this comes in a year from now, like you can take care of it. It's not going to feel like burdensome or difficult. And in fact, I feel like a lot of you are going to really want to take care of it. And like I said, with this Great and Full card, you have the energy, you have the power to take care of it. You have the desire and the motivation to do things. You have the desire and the motivation to kind of expend that energy to help others, to do all that kind of stuff. Because I definitely see you get filled up a lot with this kind of luxuriating. It's kind of like taking a lot of self-care, a lot of time for yourself this next kind of up until the next year. And then really it's about giving back and kind of giving back to others. In year 5, year 5, that's where these cards come into play with fun and friendship. This is really going to be really important because we have advice from a friend and slowly but surely getting ahead, a higher view and Ace of Swords. First, with a higher view, kind of like being this person that takes care of others or helps other people in need and kind of like takes care of their needs or gets them to the places they need to go or gives them the correct advice, right? You're really building a lot of positive karma, right? We see this again with the scales, kind of representative of the scales in the Justice card, which is a card about karma. There's something about rebalancing the scales in your favor. And with a higher view, it basically gives you this perspective of things because you've been able to take care of these situations and these people. And basically with this higher view, with this flight, it's almost like this Great and Full, this kind of heavy sensation in the next year. In year 5, you're going to be fully flying. You're going to be fully taking flight, fully flying. I see that there's not going to be that many health issues in this 5th year. You're going to be very well balanced, right? With slowly but surely getting ahead, your career is on a steady track, and I see that you're very happy with it. You're very happy with it, and you're happy to go at a slow and steady pace. I definitely don't see any kind of blocks or major indications of like unhappiness, like feeling tied down or frustrated like you did a little bit in this next year coming up. I definitely don't see that in year 5. I definitely see almost like a breakthrough, but you've learned to kind of take it slow and steady, to go at your own pace, basically. And with a higher view, it's interesting because you definitely have this higher perspective in year 5. Something you're really growing into as a person, I'm seeing, is someone who can really see all sides of a situation very, very clearly. Like you can see everyone's perspective pretty easily. Yeah, this dog barking, advice from a friend, goes both ways. It goes to the point where with this 6 of Pentacles, you're kind of giving advice to people or giving aid to people. This could be financial, but for most of you, it's going to be like giving advice or giving consolation or giving kind of like comfort to someone else, or kind of just being able to figure out how to make something in someone else's life happen for them. Like how can you make that their dream or goal kind of help them, or how can you help them on their way? So I definitely see there's kind of like an angelic, you're almost like angelic in year 1 to 5. It's like you're growing into kind of like your higher self and your higher conscience. This Ace of Swords in this particular reading is making me think of higher self, and specifically with clarity. I definitely see that maybe in the past it's been difficult for you to see clearly situations and how to get through them. But based on this incredible transformation and you helping so many people by year 5, you have a really clear idea of what other people need and want. And you have a very high perspective of everything in your environment, everything in your life, basically. Yeah, this Ace of Swords just represents a clearing of the clouds, a clearing of the confusion, really clarity, an aha moment, clarity of thought. I definitely see you're mentally going to be really with it. Like mentally and intellectually, you're going to be really quick and with it. This advice from a friend, going back to this friendship and fun card, I definitely see a really strong friendship coming into your life, or a couple of friends coming into your life, that in year 5, you guys are going to be thick as thieves. Like there's something about really close communication, really close connection. And I'm definitely seeing one of the things that bonds you both and what bonds you in this group or this other person is a mutual exchange of advice. The fact that their advice doesn't really bother you and your advice doesn't really bother them, but you can both really learn from the other one's advice. So it's not really annoying, basically. I know some people, when they give advice, can be a little irritating, like, you know, oh my gosh, I know already, like, I don't need this advice. But this person's not going to be like that. Their advice is going to flow smoothly into you, and your advice is going to flow smoothly into them. It creates a really honest and compatible friendship. I definitely see this kind of card, this 6 of Pentacles, being a really fundamental card in this reading and a really transformative experience, specifically after year 1 into year 5. There's a whole bunch of giving and receiving that is going to make your life just feel so wonderful. And so you're going to feel so empowered. You're going to feel abundant as well, you know? Anyway, it's basically with a lot of fun. So basically you're going to have a lot of fun with this hot air balloon and this Ace of Swords. I definitely see like the air element being really important to you in this 5th year. If you're someone who focuses on elements, or you're into elemental magic or something like that, the air element is going to be really pivotal to you, and you're going to feel really in tune with the air element in year 5. There's something about having a lot of fun, a lot of communication, a lot of laughter, a lot of like understanding, a lot of like clarity. And it's interesting because you still maintain that slow and steady pace with your work. You're kind of like in a comfortable place with your job, or you're in a comfortable place with your work where you can kind of like just kind of clock in every day and like not have to think too much about it and kind of get like massive rewards. I'm definitely seeing this 9 of Pentacles card still exists pretty much in this time period of your life. It's just the reason it's not showing up there and it's here is because this is kind of the beginning of that journey, and you're a little more solitary in the beginning of your journey. Even though you have those people that admire you and you know, the next couple months, you're still more independent. You're still more kind of going at things at your own pace. You're going at things at your own kind of like, I mean, here you're definitely going at a pace that suits you with that tortoise card. You know, the tortoise always wins the race because they're not tiring themselves out by going too fast or too slow. They're going by their own pace. Usually it's slowly, but it's surely getting ahead, going at your own pace to get all those things done. Let's see if I see anything else. I think that's about it. I'm going to end the reading there. It was lovely reading for you, Group 1. If you enjoyed this reading, please like or comment below. If you really like this reading, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. And with that said, we're going to move on to group 2 with, oh, if I can see it. It is group 2 with Trance Dance. Hey, group 2, this is if you picked the card Trance Dance. This will be your reading. So let's get into your reading. I pre-drew the cards for this reading, so we will get into it right now. For your first couple months ahead, we have a powerful move. Wow. This card flipped up upright, but we have the Oracle's Gift for year 1. And this card, we have the Storyteller for year 5. And then for your tea leaf cards, for your first 2 tea leaf cards for the first couple months, we have Parrot, someone will gossip about all your secrets, and Ram, a stubborn, aggressive person. Wow. Interesting. Next we have, in year 2, we have Mule, someone is extremely stubborn and unwilling to change, and Teapot, deep friendship with someone of the same sex. That's very interesting with Oracle's Gift. I'll get into that in a little bit. And then with the Storyteller for year 5, we have Gavel, involvement with the law, and Fair Man, dealings or relationship with a man with blonde, gray, or white hair. Put those there. And then we're also going to shuffle some tarot cards and pull... Oh, we have one that came out. We have the 6 of Swords. I'm going to put that right by Powerful Move. And then we have, then we have King of Cups with Oracle's Gift. Very interesting. And one last one for the Storyteller. We had 3 flip up. I'm going to show you what those are, but I'm only going to take the 7 of Cups. But we also had the World, the Ace of Wands, and the 7 of Cups. Because I don't have room on the table, I'm going to keep these off to the side, and I'll probably pull them into the reading. Just because I want to, like, make sure I take all the messages, you know. And I also want to draw you guys a Love Story Oracle card. Oh, we got one. We got Chemistry. Perfect. Okay, so let's get into your reading. Okay, let's get into your guys' reading. Okay, so we have, let's start off with the next couple of months. I definitely see that in a way you're in some kind of a, like a rut of some sort right now. But there's something going on where you are attempting, it's almost like you have the inside scoop on information, basically. And it's kind of like you know this is how you're going to get out of your situation, is because you have a lot of like the correct information to get out of the situation. So in this way, it requires a little bit of gossip, like where it says someone will gossip about all your secrets with Parrot. This is almost like a warning, because it's almost like in the realm or the thing you're working on. Just so you guys know, if you pick this pile, there's a lot of specifics in this pile, and I don't know. I mean, I just do these readings and you guys say they're accurate and stuff. So I'm just going to read what I see, and we'll go from there. But just so you know, if it doesn't resonate, take what resonates and leave the rest. So I'm definitely seeing a lot of really specific stuff that to me seems like it would apply to like very specific circumstances. So, but let me just get into it. Basically, so you have this kind of way of like, you know, you need to get out of this situation, and you know you can do it with your knowledge or with what you know about yourself and other people. With a powerful move here, this is like a chess game with this chess piece and these wings, right? The point is you have to kind of get across the board on the other side without touching like these other spaces, right? You have to kind of navigate your way very carefully and craftily to get to the other side where this other chess piece is, right? There's something about desiring to make a move or With a powerful move, this is just indicating that almost right now, or when you're watching this video, you know this is the right time to make your move in specific area of your life. Now, I don't know if this is love, career. I'm seeing for a lot of you, this is going to be something along the lines with your career, but for the most part, there's something about a power move that you're going to make, a power play that you're going to make, and it's going to require using knowledge and wisdom from like your environment and the things you know about the people around you. Now, it's very interesting because in order to use this knowledge to get ahead, you have to kind of share this knowledge to get ahead. I'm definitely seeing there is an issue here with this ram, a stubborn, aggressive person. You're almost like the parrot and this person's the ram. And in a way, you can think of these two energies as enemies in this particular situation. So you need to use information and sharing information to get ahead, to use information strategically to get ahead. And this ram person, when they catch you in this act, they're going to view it as gossip. They're going to view it as you kind of like being slanderous and stuff. I don't think you actually are. They're just seeing it that way. They're seeing you kind of being like too talkative or too sharing or too... But the way you need to move through it is to use information to your advantage. In a way, you're relating to people and you're making powerful moves on their heartstrings and kind of like how they feel is what I'm saying. But with Parrot here, you just have to be careful about gossiping about people's secrets or what people want to keep hidden, basically. But it's interesting because at the same time, I know that for this person in this particular situation, you're almost going to need to use specific things and information to your advantage in this particular situation in order to get ahead. But with this stubborn, aggressive person, if you kind of like, it's almost like an army guy or a Navy like SEAL or basically someone who's in the army who's walking across a field with landmines, right? They know they have to walk carefully. And they know that every step they take will get them closer to their goal, which is across the landmine field. But if they step on the wrong area, a landmine will go off, blowing them up, and they'll have to start all over again. In the case if it's like a video game, you have to like start all over again, right? So this is kind of like requiring very, very careful mobility and maneuvering. I definitely see, it's interesting because a powerful move makes me think of like one swift, powerful action. But because we have the Six of Swords here, there's this like slow and consistent efforts and moving away from kind of an unfavorable situation into a more favorable situation. So even though you're using knowledge to get ahead, even though you're using kind of like communication and in some cases, mild gossip. I say mild gossip because I know if it gets too slanderous, if you're kind of like speaking like too cavalier about other people's secrets, these ram people will surface and kind of butt you back into your corner, basically. But for the most part, I see this as kind of like something that is necessary to get out of your situation and into the next phase of your life. This is just something that's going to be happening in the next couple months. This is not a situation that's going to be like going on for like ever, I don't think. Because I definitely see a lot of different stuff down in here that doesn't really have to do with this. Maybe a little bit in year 5, something similar along similar lines. But basically, with a powerful move, you have to make these very strategic, calculated moves. Slow and powerful equals strategic, right? That's kind of the main mode that you have to think of in the next kind of month or so, strategic. I definitely see that you have kind of like the long game in mind with this chessboard. I mean, you have strategy. You know how to use strategy. You just have to be careful, right? Careful kind of like not stepping on any toes or on anybody's sensitivities. You just have to be careful that the information that you're sharing is stuff that people don't mind being shared. Don't mind being like shared, basically. Like you can share this information that you know, but you have to be careful because you're going to have some people who are a little more stubborn and maybe possibly a little aggressive that don't like kind of the secrets that you're sharing, and they might get in your way. You may have already noticed this a little bit with people in your life, kind of like when you've tried to use this kind of method to get ahead. It's just interesting because currently in the next couple months, you're going to have to use it to kind of make your way out of a sticky situation. And it's kind of like you have to use it to get through these kind of like stubborn people. Okay, let's move on into year 1. So a year from now, kind of like separate from this section, I'm not really seeing too many. Like I said, this was very specific. I don't know how many of you kind of use gossip to like, or sharing knowledge or using information as your way to get ahead in the world. But this is just kind of like a method or modality that you're going to have to kind of use. For some of you, it's interesting because I'm seeing for some of you, this is also not just about sharing information to get ahead, but also keeping information to yourself to get ahead. You know, like not saying a specific thing if you know it's going to hurt someone's feelings or affect them. You know, I see that for a lot of you, restraint is also as equally as important as sharing that information. So learning when to share or reveal, or when to reveal that information and when to hide it and when to keep it to yourself is really important. I'm definitely seeing all these swords in this boat. It's kind of like the information you keep to yourself kind of makes you move a little slower, but at the same time, you also don't want to step on that proverbial landmine and deal with the ram, basically. So just keep that in mind for week one. Week one, months, next couple months. Next year, we have some interesting stuff, and this is where the chemistry card comes in, I'm so happy to say. It's interesting. You're going to meet someone who is kind of stubborn, similar to these ram individuals, but this is a person that you're just like so attracted to. And it's interesting because, for a lot of you with deep friendship with someone of the same sex, I'm getting a vibe that for a lot of you, this is a same-sex connection. And you know, take what resonates though. If you're not into same-sex relationships, this is probably not gonna be a message for you. This is just basically indicating like a deep friendship with someone who is very similar to your like divine feminine or your divine masculine. Whatever you kind of resonate with, this person's gonna be almost like mirroring that energy, basically. For those of you looking for different sex relationships. Yeah, and with someone who's extremely stubborn and unwilling to change, you kind of like meet this person and there's kind of this vibe of like, you're trying to seduce them and they don't budge. Like you're trying to get like charm them and they don't budge. And you're like worried a little bit. You're like, uh-oh, we got another ram on our hands, right? But really it's a totally different beast entirely. We have the ram and the mule. And so it's a totally different beast entirely. You know, the ram doesn't like to be found out, doesn't like their secrets to be shared. The mule, on the other hand, it's not so much about that. It's just about the fact that it takes them a while to warm up, I guess is the best way to put it. But it creates this chemistry because to you, it presents this challenge, right? You're like, whoa, this is kind of challenging. This is interesting. And the reason it says deep friendship with someone of the same sex and not deep romantic relationship is because at first, this is probably for most of you going to start out as a friendship in the next year. It's going to be very difficult for you guys to move ahead romantically with this person because I definitely see they're like really resistant to change, specifically like kind of like sexual advances or advances of a more romantic nature. I definitely see it's kind of like pulling teeth with this person. But at the same time, there's a really beautiful thing here where you guys have this like deep respect for each other. With the King of Cups here, with this mastery moment, I definitely see this is kind of like a relationship that's going to provide a lot of intuitive gifts for both of you, especially with the Oracle's gift right here. There's something about getting access to information that's not just kind of like this type of information that we talked about in the next couple of months, but it's kind of like a deeper sense of information, a deeper sense of your bigger picture in the world, where you fit in with everything, where you fit in the bigger grand scheme of things. And with chemistry here, I definitely see a very romantic kind of connection, at least on your end for quite a while. And I definitely see and feel them warming up eventually. It's interesting. With the King of Cups here, this person could be a water sign. My first guess is Pisces, but they could be any of the water signs. There's also an element with the King of Cups here of this person being older. You know, you kind of like trying to seduce this person. They're a little bit more mature than you or something like that. There is also another element that it's just that this is a very mature relationship, a mature connection. Like you both take each other very, very seriously. And kind of in a very, very somber way. I definitely see that you guys are kind of like each other's rocks in this situation, you know, or in this kind of like aspect of your lives. You're kind of like stuck to each other almost. There's kind of an element of loyalty and just feeling really connected and close with this person, right? We do have deep friendship. So it starts out that way. It starts out as this really deep friendship. And I think in a year from now, that's mostly where it's going to be. But then I think it progresses further into the future. Obviously, you know, I'm not saying like full longevity. If another like card appeared here about this person, I'd say, okay, we have like a for sure long-term relationship on our hands. But for the most part, I'm seeing something with high potential for that long-term kind of relationship. If you want something like that, this is definitely going to be a deep and empowering connection for you guys. Whatever, you know, your orientation or whatever you're looking for, I definitely see this as kind of like a very intimate kind of thing coming up in the next year with chemistry here. There's something about, it's just undeniable. You know, that chemistry is undeniable. I'm hearing that. With year 5, the year 5 is kind of interesting because I'm getting like it kept popping up in my head. Lawyer kept popping up because we have involvement with the law and storyteller, and I'm thinking of a lawyer or someone who kind of spins stories to kind of like convince people or something like that. And definitely with involvement with the law, I'm definitely seeing that this is like an aspect where you're kind of developing yourself into a very fair and balanced person, even though you're also someone who tells stories, right? I'm definitely seeing that you, on one hand, you're mastering the fact in 5 years from now that you are a creative person, that you're a storyteller, that you weave dramatic narratives, that you tell kind of like these advanced topics or share information with people. But with involvement with the law, I definitely see you doing everything very, and it's funny that the word legally is coming to mind because it's not morally or ethically, it's like legally. Like, I definitely see you, whatever you do, you will never get, I guess this sounds so bad, you will never get caught, I guess is the word that's coming to mind. Like, you're never going to get stopped by the law. You're never going to get trapped by like forces like that. Like, and also with my tarot readings, I never try to give legal advice or medical advice. Always like seek a professional on that. I'm just saying it because it came up in the cards. But I'm definitely getting something of the Justice card here, where it's like a sense of like justice and mercy, and kind of like knowing when those elements are like coordinated. And also with Fair Man, it's interesting because it's spelled fair like it's like fair as in like someone with light skin, right? But with Fair Man, I'm definitely thinking like fair man, like someone who's always fair, someone who's fair to others. Something along those lines, that you're becoming a very fair man. You're becoming very diplomatic and balanced. I think this kind of connection with this person solidifies this kind of energy in you. I think that a lot of people who, like these Ram energies, who kind of had to deal with you in a specific way back here, kind of have more respect for who you've grown into over here. You know, they might not admit it, right? But they definitely have a lot of respect for you. If they're still in your life, or people who are still around you, you're definitely going to be able to navigate this kind of like hard-headed, stubborn energy really easily at this point in life, because you know, and you have like a moral head on your shoulders, and your storytelling comes from a place of justice, and comes from a place of justice, basically. Like, the thing is like, you know, I feel like a lot of these Ram people want kind of like what people deserve needs to be brought to them kind of vibe, you know? And with you over here, I definitely see you like working in the patterns of the law, but using your kind of storytelling abilities to get things done in that regard. It's interesting because the last 3 cards we have, remember I pulled these at the beginning of the reading. I had the 7 of Cups, the World, and the Ace of Wands. I definitely see with the World card, there is a sense of, in 5 years from now, a sense of completion, right? That you're completing a cycle. And at the same time, the Ace of Wands is indicating that it's not over. You're still going to get inspiration. You're still going to get motivation. You're very much energized by this completed phase of your life. Like, it's not just the end, it's the beginning. So almost if you think that something like this, some kind of like being fair or equal or equitable, is going to dull your kind of competitive or your strategic spirit and kind of make you more boring, I guess you could say, by being more like too, how do I put this? Like, I definitely see you going from kind of more wild, all over the place strategic energy to more of a fair, balanced kind of, still having that storyteller ability, but more fair and balanced. Yeah, I definitely see with this 7 of Cups here that you're going to be able to decipher the best option in a specific situation no matter what. You know, it's almost like that these people basically, or this guy, he's looking at all these things, and one has a snake, one has jewels, one has a dragon. Basically, whenever you need jewels, you'll be able to just reach into those clouds and pick the jewel cup. Whenever you need to, like, you know, maybe you need to work with a snake, you know, maybe this negative snake, you don't really think that you would need to work with it. It scares you at one point, but then another point you're like, you know what, I want a pet snake. I want to work with a snake, and you grab the snake cup. These are all metaphors, of course, But basically, you'll be able to pick out and work with whatever you need at any given time because your resources are going to be available to you. These resources are going to be available. So, like I said, moving on, basically, you kind of have this plethora of choices. You know, it could be a little overwhelming at times, basically being like, well, what do I choose? I mean, there's so much to choose, you know, where right here, it's almost like you need to kind of get out of this sticky situation, you know, in order to grow and develop into this fair person. But right here, it's almost like you can kind of grab whatever situation you want and you know you can handle it, you know? So that's kind of coming through really strong. And especially with this World card, this is a card about a lot of positivity, a lot of happiness, and definitely a sense of completion, with her being kind of naked with the sash right in the middle of the card, and then on the outside, you know, with that wreath kind of over there protecting her. You know, she's protected, and there's a sense of balance with all the kind of zodiac signs. So you can think of yourself in this sense of balance, that if you're feeling unbalanced in the next couple of months or feeling like it's going to be tricky or difficult, you can know that in the future, everything's going to work out fine. Everything's going to be kind of like work out in the correct ways. For a lot of you, it's going to be a very fair situation. You're going to turn into a very fair person. And I definitely see you with this Seven of Cups making the best decision possible in your life, making the best decision. And with Storyteller, you might actually, if you came to this reading, you're trying to think of like a career that you're going to have 5 years from now. I definitely see that someone like you would be really good as a lawyer, or someone who is a storyteller, or someone who writes stories. I definitely see with this Parrot card that you have a lot of information about your surroundings and your environment and the people around you. Excuse me. And basically, like, you can put that into a story, you can put that into a book, you can put that into the written word. You can also be like an entertainer, you know, but I'm definitely seeing with involvement with the law, it might be more beneficial to do something in the realms of like being a lawyer, or kind of like a public defendant or something like that, or any kind of attorney, someone like that who kind of has to kind of reorganize information to get their client off the hook, or reorganize information to bring justice to a specific person or situation. And you don't have to worry if you're worried about, like, you know, if you're thinking like, whoa, I don't want to be like someone who is kind of like manipulative or destructive in that way, right? With Fair Man, this is just an assurance that you are going to be a fair person. You are going to deliver fair judgments to others. You know, I'm definitely feeling that vibe that, like, even though you maneuver and shift and distribute information in different ways, with the Fair Man, you're always doing the best thing for everyone else. And you can rest solid in that. You can rest assured that, like, you still have like kind of like an ethical head on your shoulders, you know, that you're still going to end up being a really good person. And if you're struggling with that kind of like ethical dilemma at this point in your life, I definitely see by the time you meet this mule person, they're really going to help you with that. You know, this psychic connection is not just opening up a psychic connection between you and this person that you have this chemistry with. It's opening up like a sharing of your minds, you know, and I definitely think this mule person who is stubborn and unwilling to change has some like pretty staunch beliefs on morality and kind of like what's right and wrong and all of that good stuff. And they're really gonna like, there's gonna be a symbiotic connection. Also with the King of Cups, sometimes I see the King of Cups as someone who has more of a moral head on his shoulders, who knows like right and wrong pretty well. You know, also someone who can handle themselves in different kind of chaotic situations, you know? So think of all these factors as piecing together who you're becoming in the next 5 years. And I really enjoyed reading for you guys. I think I'm going to end the reading there. If you like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really like this reading, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. And with that said, we're going to move on to group 3 with moments of gratitude. Hey, group 3, this is if you picked the moments of gratitude card. We have a big thank you and a person standing on the ocean beach with this card. So thank you for watching. This, like, with this kind of thank you can't help but like think thankful thoughts to others, right? Okay, so I'm gonna get into your reading. I pre-drew the oracle cards for us today. So the first card for the next couple months ahead is Great Big Love. The next oracle card for a year ahead is Tender Embrace. And for 5 years ahead, we have Divine Matrix. And then for our tea leaf oracle cards, for Great Big Love, the next couple of months, we have Crown, Honor and Respect will come to you, and Ant, Work, Achievement, Success. 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 Okay, let me turn that like that. There we go. And then for year 1, after a year, we have Rooster and Harp. An arrogant, boastful person you should not cross, and Harp, Great Happiness. And last, for Divine Matrix, we have 2 cards here. We have Tankard, Celebration, Fun, Enjoyment, and Star, Guaranteed Success. We love to see that, don't we? And then I'm going to draw some tarot cards to kind of correlate with the oracle cards here. Let's just get some more information. We have Knight of Cups. We need 2 more cards here. We have 9 of Cups. And then we have Knight of Swords. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so, and then I'm also going to draw a love story oracle card for you guys to see if there are any. We have Open Up. So I apologize, you guys, I took the candle off because the flames were getting so small and tiny and they were getting absorbed in the wet wax. And I felt bad for the candle. I was like, you're dying right in front of me. So I decided to put this rose quartz sphere here instead of the candle. So welcome the rose quartz sphere for the next 2 piles. And yeah, let's get into your reading. Okay, let's get into your reading. We have an interesting kind of situation with the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Swords here, but I will get into that as the reading goes on. Okay, so with your card, Moments of Gratitude, I feel like a lot of you, if you pick this card, you're already on your way of practicing gratitude and kind of what makes you grateful in the moments in your life. This is really a blessed card in that way, in that like being grateful for what you have in your life and what is going on in your life can really attract a lot of abundance to you. And as we see in your future, you do have a lot of abundance. You have a lot of good, positive things coming to you, in particular for this pile, for this group. Let's get into the reading. So with Great Big Love and Knight of Cups, there's something about with great big love and honor and respect will come to you. There's something about biding your time to, it's not about expressing love, although it could be. It's biding your time to share your heart, and it's biding your time to feel love return to you. You might feel at this point in your life that you don't have much in the love department, that your love life or your romantic life is more dried up, and this is not really just talking about romantic life. More specifically with this reading in particular, it's talking about sharing love with people and receiving love with people and being basically open and affectionate with others. This is something that with honor and respect will come to you, that it's basically saying that it's not now that you will receive this great big love, but it's going to come to you down the line. You're growing into a person who's going to have a very open heart chakra, receive a lot of love and show a lot of affection and receive a lot of affection and be surrounded by loving energy. That's kind of where you're headed. But I definitely see with this great big love, you keep it bottled up inside your body and you don't really share it with too many people for fear of getting hurt. And that's something that's coming through really strong. But basically the cards are urging you that in the long run, you will be able to open up. You will be able to share this love. You will be able to share this joy with others. Others will be able to share their joy with you. It's just in a weird way, it's not the right time. And it's almost like the universe is kind of like with this moments of gratitude card. I definitely think that being thankful for your loving nature, even if you can't express it at this particular moment in time, is going to be very beneficial for you in the long run. Just practicing and knowing you have that big heart, that you have that big sense of love inside you, is going to be very beneficial. I definitely see with this Knight of Cups going forward, this great big love, even if you can't really express it or other people don't see it, it carries with you in this sense of nobility and charm and charisma that kind of exudes off of you, and others kind of receive it and kind of realize what's going on. They can kind of see the love inside you, but it's almost like, it's interesting. The honor and respect will come to you as two different meanings, right? Basically, this affectionate love, this kind of loving atmosphere where you express love and you receive love in return, it's coming. You are such a loving person, it's almost destined for you, right? And the more you practice gratitude, the quicker it will come. But on top of that, with work, achievement, and success, this kind of great big love is like inside you and kind of comes through this nobility sense. Knight of Cups is a very charming card, right? Knight of Cups is a deliverer of messages and kind of information, but at the same time, he's almost like the horse in itself is very charming, very alluring, very charismatic, right? And with work, achievement, and success, that's kind of your destiny in the next couple of months, is to kind of work on yourself, or work in the kind of career aspects of your life and achieve things and be successful, right? People are going to like you for that, yes. And it's just one of those things where it's like, even though you want to be recognized for who you are on your loving core, the thing is you are being recognized for that. People do see you as a good person. And that's kind of where it starts. You might think like, well, everyone sees everyone as a good person, or there's always people that are good people, or I always, can find someone who's a good person. The thing is with you, it's like, that's where it starts, right? You're going to grow into this kind of abundant life where love is all around you, but that's where it starts. It starts inside, and it starts from inside shining outwards. It's just right now with the Ant card, ants are more about slow and steady work, working with the team. Work and achievement and success is really big right now in your life, instead of kind of sharing this big love, but you grow into it. I definitely see that you not just grow into it, but it just exudes more around you and you attract it more into your life. Year one, we have a little tension, and it's really the only tension in the reading, really. We have Rooster, an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. There is a situation in a year from now where you are going to run into someone who is an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. And the thing is this person is really like, this is someone who puffs themselves up, right? And makes themselves really tough and makes themselves act tough, right? And you might think that this person is in need of some kind of love, or in need of kind of loving and caring words. And I'm definitely seeing you're at this point where you're ready to start sharing your love with someone. And so this is where these kind of like, it's kind of like a test from the universe where it's like, it's almost like, how do I put this? Sometimes the universe throws us things that aren't right for us so we can instantly see what's right for us. And that's kind of what we see in this particular situation, right? So the arrogant, boastful person you should not cross is going to be kind of like a tricky situation, because you're going to meet them and I can tell you're going to want to share with them, and you're going to want to give to them, and they're going to seem good at first, I guess is the best way to put it. But over time, over a little bit of time, actually, it's probably not going to take you too long to see this. You realize you don't really click with them, and you're not really compatible with them, or that they're pretty mean or angry, or kind of just not good vibes. Like, not good vibes for you, and not good vibes for most people, to be honest. They're not liked by a lot of people. And at the same time, that's kind of your attraction to them, is it's like, whoa, I really want to give love to this person who is unloved. You're almost in a way rooting for the underdog. You kind of want everyone to work and get along together, especially with this Ant card. In the next couple of months, you're really going to be building that sense of teamwork and camaraderie with others, and working and achieving to your successful goals. But this Rooster person is just a little bit boastful, kind of like cocky, I guess. It's funny, it's a rooster. Yeah. But basically you're going to avoid them in the long run, right? In the next year. And basically you meet someone with this tender embrace, right? And that's kind of how you can tell that you're going to be meeting the correct people in your life. Now, for a lot of you, I want to say that there is a vibe for a lot of you, that there is something about, I don't know how to best describe it. I think it's like polyamory, basically where you have like a lot of intimate connections with people. They don't all have to be romantic, but I can feel like some of them are probably going to be romantic. But basically you learn who you can share your love with, right? Based on this one person, this one rooster, right? This arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. You realize like, you kind of learn your lesson like, okay, I shouldn't share love with them. And because you learn that one lesson with them, you instantly know who you can share your love with from everyone else, right? This one bad encounter shows you like, wow, so I can't share my love with this type of person. And easily you can start to see an archetype of that person and other people, and you'll know instantly, like, can't share my love with them, can't share my love with them. They won't appreciate my love. They don't deserve my sensitivity. You know, they won't appreciate my sensitivity. And you start learning through the process of like elimination, basically, who you can share that love with. And with tender embrace, you're going to have the most, how do I put this? This could get physical and like sexual, but for the most part, I'm seeing this as just comfort and affection. With tender embrace, I'm definitely seeing this feeling of like meeting people in year one where you just feel so comfortable around them. I'm definitely seeing a lot of cuddle puddles, you know, where you're kind of like get to cuddle up with people and kind of like lounge around and laugh and enjoy. And with great happiness, you have like, you're starting to collect the correct friends for you, right? 9 of Cups is a card about this man who's like come so far in life. It's a 9 card, right? It's about completion. And he's sitting, and in a way he's alone, but these cups, if you think of these cups as all people and loving experiences he's had in his life, he's actually quite rich, you know? It's right before the 10 of Cups where you find your soulmate and settle down and build your own family, right? The 9 of Cups is kind of like looking back and being gracious, feeling gratitude. It's a wish fulfilled card because it's like, it's almost like you will feel so much gratitude in this moment, but it's also like you can look back and you can see like, wow, I have built a collection of really solid people in my life, and I can share affection and love with all of them. I can be open with all of these people. Really, you're coming into some very, very, very beautiful energy with tender embrace and the 9 of Cups here. It's just, if you're nervous about this person, it's kind of like a necessary evil, because once you meet this specific archetype of person, you learn like, okay, there's certain people I just can't share my affection with because they're a certain way, right? And it pretty much calls out right here, an arrogant, boastful person you should not cross. I know I've repeated that a couple times, but when you meet this person, I just want you to know ahead of time when you meet them, so that kind of like when you do meet them, the process of getting to know them can be a little smoother and kind of like you can escape more easily, you know? Anyway, so year one is this beautiful time where you have these like beautiful connections, beautiful friendships, a lot of affection, a lot of love. And especially with that, a lot of you, if you are into polyamorous relationships, you might have a few partners during this time or a few lovers during this time. And I'm definitely saying that a lot of them are not going to have those kind of like hard feelings as far as like, how do I put this? There's not too much jealousy or animosity in this friend group. You know, everyone kind of knows that like everyone gets to just love on each other, and that's okay. You know, there's a lot of like free love, I guess you could say, that's expressed in this group of people. So if you're not into polyamory or that's not an option for you, it's definitely one of those things with great happiness, tender embrace, and also open up over here. It's interesting with open up, which just showing you that you could close off from this rooster person and think like, you know what, I'm never going to open up again. Or you could realize that's one person. You can't open up to that type of person. Notice those people in your environment, but then beyond that, reading in between the lines, seeing all the people you can share love and affection with, see all the people you can open up to, you know, and it really opens this whole new door for you. I definitely see this very transformational experience in a year from now for you, basically. Right now, it's interesting because you're kind of carrying this affection inside you unnoticed, just working on your goals and achievements and success, you know, without knowing that you're kind of bringing this into the next part of your life to just really create this like beautiful family. A lot of these people are probably members of your soul family. I feel like a lot of you kind of incarnated on this planet, and in a year from now, you're going to really be experiencing like that love and connection with each other. So I'm really happy for that. That's like it's always a beautiful time when you can really fully be and share yourself, you know? In year 3, we also have celebration, fun, enjoyment, guaranteed success, and divine matrix and Knight of Swords. this is where it gets quite interesting, because the Knight of Swords is not represented as it usually is, right? The Knight of Swords is represented kind of by like a somewhat confrontational person who goes against kind of the arguments of the day to kind of, you know, in the face of, you know, like kind of like someone says something, he instantly wants to argue it, right? It's interesting, but this is being represented by an intellectual card, and it's also because it's going backwards in time. This Knight of Cups is going forward in time. This could be a negative thing in the sense that in 5 years from now, you could be looking back on your life with somewhat of like a regretful mindset, in the sense that like you want to tackle the problems of your past in the present. It's like you want to look to the past to see where you're coming from or where you're going. With Divine Matrix here, this is a very trippy card, you know. Also we have 22 and 44, both master numbers. So master numbers might be significant for you. 11, 22, 33, 44. All the master numbers might seem significant to you. And if you see them, those are good signs that you're on the right direction. But with Knight of Swords, it's about going into the past and tackling those problems that kind of were like frustrating to you, you know? Not being too critical on yourself, but definitely going against those problems and being like, you know, well, why did I, you know, act like that? Do I have to be like that? No, I can be like this, you know, going against your past to kind of create your present reality, basically, is what is kind of emphasized here with this Knight of Swords. And with Divine Matrix, it's interesting because this card really reminds me, for some reason, of like the fact that when you look at your past, it's just kind of like your future. So if you go back in your past and you kind of look to rewrite certain wrongs in your past or certain things in your past, you can actually kind of change your future by reorienting your path in life, kind of like from the past into the future, you know? I definitely see could be a lot of like spiritual awakening in this point of your life, like with 5 years from now, with kind of like meditations or analyzing things, or really kind of realizing that kind of like what goes around comes around kind of vibe. But it's interesting, with celebration, fun, and enjoyment and guaranteed success, you're going to be having a blast while doing these things. Like the carryover from this area of your life, this does not go away. This lesson that you learn with this person really carries over into this amazing part of your life where you just have so much fun hereafter, you know? Once you kind of realize this lesson of, okay, you know, can't trust this person, but then it opens up all these people you can trust, you just have a blast. Like, I'm seeing like so much positivity just starting in year 1 and going to year 5. This is just pointing out that it continues in year 5 and you're still in it. You're still expressing that love. And with guaranteed success, there is a lot more success coming to you, not just in love relationships or friendships, but also with this work, achievement, and success. I'm seeing that as well. Yeah, this Divine Matrix card's tripping me out. It's actually funny because I'm having a hard time analyzing or explaining the concept that I'm thinking of. The best way to put it is it's like what kind of winds up gets sprung forward, if that makes sense. It's kind of just like an image that I've like had in my life. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of how I feel. Like if you think of planets in retrograde and stuff, like first the planet comes towards Earth and then it like goes away from Earth, you know, it's like winding up and then springing out, you know? So it's kind of one of those things. You kind of are realizing in a way the cycles of life, and Divine Matrix just means you're kind of realizing kind of like, you know, the Matrix, like the movie, you're kind of realizing like, wow, this is the components of life. This is what fits into here and this is what fits into there. I understand how it all works. I understand the component here. You know, this is happening because of this. You know, I grew so much in this, so it's just going to go back to that. And then it's going to go back to this. You know, it's kind of like just understanding the nature of all things, basically. And with this Knight of Swords, this is interesting that it came out with this Moments of Gratitude card too, or that you picked this card. Going back and analyzing the past and going through the pain points, right? And seeing what was like painful for you in your past and how to get over that. Also, don't breeze over the stuff that was positive, right? There's a lot of positive moments that made you who you are today. And so Moments of Gratitude is just indicating that while you're analyzing your life in 5 years from now and going into your past and kind of dealing with that, coming back out of that, because I definitely see you want to attack it full force. You're like, I'm going to take on my past and go through these things. I definitely see this could be a period with a lot of shadow work, but you're going at it almost like gun-ho. It's like all your intellectual energy springing from the future to behind you, basically. Basically, you have this kind of like intellectual capacity that's emerging in year 5 that's different from like your tender love and care, basically. Even though that tender love and care, like I said, stays and continues into year 5. You don't have to worry about that leaving. I think I about covered everything, actually. If you like this reading, feel free to like or comment below. And if you really like this reading, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. With that said, we're going to move on to group 4 with The Wonder of Colors. Hey, group 4, this is if you picked The Wonder of Colors. So we'll get into your reading right now. I removed the candle. If you had a friend and you're watching my readings and you saw group 1 or 2, there was a candle here. I had to move it to the rose quartz because the candle was dying. I didn't want a dead candle, so we just moved it to rose quartz. Okay, so in the next 1 to 2 months, okay, I have the oracle cards. I'll show you guys right here. I have oracle cards right here, and then I'm going to draw some tarot cards and a love oracle card as we go. So for the first oracle card, we have In Perfect Harmony. This is for a couple months from now in the reading. Then the next oracle card we have is Time Machine. This is for a year from now. Then the last oracle card is It Is What It Is, and this is 5 years from now. I think that's, yeah. And then as far as our TV oracle cards for the first couple months from now, we have Boot, Increase Your Efforts if you want to achieve your goals, and Dog, Far Away, a distant friend is thinking of you. Then for a year from now, we have Tulip, Great Passion, and Bat. Take care, enemies are working against you. And for year 5, we have Dragon, Beware of Self-Delusion, and Desk, Pay Attention to Your Work. Now we're going to draw a tarot card for you guys for each of the sections. Let's get a tarot card to help clarify year 1, the first 6 months, and the first couple months, year 1 and year 5. I keep messing up the time frames. Okay, so let's see. This landed over here, so we're going to have the 10 of Wands over here for year 5. This one's coming out over here, so we'll put this for next couple months. Interesting, and then we have Page of Cups in the next upcoming year. I also want to draw you a love story oracle card. What will come out for group 4? We have support. Okay, let's get into your reading. I felt called to, I usually analyze the whole reading beforehand, like read almost like the whole thing and then give you kind of like an analysis of what I kind of like put together. But this part I kind of left open-ended. I didn't want to analyze it right off the bat. I think we're going to get to it and it's going to make more sense as we go. So let's get into your reading. So let's see. With the Wonder of Colors, the card that you picked, I feel like a lot of you are very, like, I don't know if obsessed is the right word, just very into rainbows or very into like colors like that. Like you might wear a lot of rainbow jewelry, or you might have a lot of like rainbows or spectrum of colors kind of like focused in your life. And I definitely see that you feel like life is kind of on this rainbow spectrum, that it kind of, all the colors kind of exist side by side each other and they kind of blend in together. You know, you definitely see life as almost like blended, and especially with perfect harmony, you're in a period of your life right now and in the next couple months where everything feels collected and calm and together, right? Everything feels kind of like unified, basically. In the next couple of months, it's interesting because I definitely see that you're feeling, in a sense, very content. I definitely see that you have almost like a lot of, some of you are going to have a lot of resources and not want to kind of focus on achieving too many goals or anything like that. Like you're kind of just content to kind of be where you are and just live in the moment, basically. And within perfect harmony, you know, who could blame you? Because like right now in your life, you have this like perfect symphony around you of like everything going very well, going really wonderfully. People in your life are in perfect harmony. You're in harmony with others. Others are in harmony with you. I definitely see that in the next couple months, there's a few things happening where it says increase your efforts if you want to achieve your goals. This is kind of like a little, with the boot here, it's kind of like a kick in the butt. Basically, it's kind of saying that like, even when things are perfect and things are going really well, you might actually look back on this time and think like, be a little upset that you weren't tackling any kind of project or any kind of goal, right? This is just indicating that you might want to think about doing something along the lines of like setting a goal or making an achievement or something like that, and kind of like getting yourself into gear in that way. Because I definitely see that there's a period here where you're kind of just enjoying and relaxing and enjoying life and not really setting any kind of advancements for the future. And definitely this boot card is here to kick your butt and basically say like, now would be a good time to kind of start those things, you know, and kind of put in a little bit of effort. Normally I advise against this because I believe we can like work in a very inspired way and stuff like that. But sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to get us in the mood of something. And then the thing just kind of takes off on its own, right? And with perfect harmony, it's like a perfect time to do this, right? It's almost like you tend to forget when everything's like perfect that, you kind of want to achieve a goal or you want something different for yourself. But the boot card is basically saying like, sometimes it's better to make moves to getting that different thing, even when things are perfect or like perfectly in place, basically. With dog far away, a distant friend is thinking of you. In the next couple months, a friend might reach out to you from your past. And this is going to be a very, amazing person for you to connect with. I definitely see it's going to be very cathartic, and you might actually spend a lot of time hanging out with this person. This could be someone who is from either your past, and for some of you, I'm getting this too, that this could be someone who's admired you from a distance. So someone that probably frequents the same places you go and has watched you for quite a while, and they kind of know a little bit about you, and then they finally come up to you and they're like, want to start a friendship or want to start kind of a connection with you. I'm definitely seeing here that this support card, like the other groups, this love story oracle card related to like specifically one area of the life, this support card relates to right here in week 1 and week 2, even a little bit in week 3. But I'm just going to relate it to this week first. This person's going to be a really strong support system for you in this particular next couple months. You're really going to have a lot of fun with them. The boot is just here, like I said, to, you know, work on achieving some kind of goal or some kind of thing that you're working on. It's almost like you don't have the motivation right now. So it's basically saying like, let yourself take some time out of your relaxing, perfect harmony world to work on a little bit of things for the future. I mean, it takes a little bit of effort, but you still can enjoy the rest of your life, and the rest of your life will still be there, and the harmony will still be there. It's basically saying that these goals, if you want to look back on life and not be like, wow, why did I waste that time? You know, it's kind of just saying like, this would be a good time to do goals. You know, you don't have to, but the cards are strongly urging you to do that. Yeah, let's get into year one. So in a year from now, instead of just a couple months from now, in a full year from now, we have Great Passion, Time Machine, Page of Cups, and Bat. Take care, enemies are working against you. Now, this is kind of interesting because Bat can seem like a very sinister card. This particularly in this reading just means that with Bat here, take care, enemies are working against you. It seems a little sinister, but specifically it's referring to the bat being a nocturnal animal, and the enemies working against you are basically with Time Machine. This is just basically meaning that you're gonna have to work on your goals at particular times in the day or night where other people are not intruding on your atmosphere, basically. So for example, I'm going to provide myself as an example for this situation because it is kind of a perfect example. So when I am doing tarot readings, I prefer filming tarot readings at night or right before I go to bed because in the daytime, my neighborhood, there's a lot of construction, right? People are building things. The house next door is getting remodeled, you know, there's just all this stuff going on that is really, really noisy and would get would get in the sound and like kind of create like interference at the reading and distract me and stuff. So I prefer to read at night when it's quiet, when it's silent, I'm not distracted. I can think clearly. So it's one of those kind of things. With Take Care, enemies are working against you in Time Machine, there's going to be a particular moment in your life where it's better to work than another moment. So for example, if, say you live somewhere where there is, like maybe you live above a bar. And so from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., like there's a lot of noise at this bar and it's really chaotic and crazy and you live so close to it and you're always hearing it at night and you're having a hard time sleeping, that could be enemies working against you. So basically all you have to do is kind of like find sleep hours in a work schedule that works for you based around those times. So there's something kind of getting in the way in that moment. And Time Machine basically just means like you can take whatever time you need throughout the day. Like time is your essence, your resource. That's kind of how you're going to manage everything. You know, there is certain times in the day that's best to do your work, that's best to sleep, that's best to play, that's best to go out and do things, and kind of finding that schedule that works for you. And right where it says take care, enemies are working against you, it's not going to be a schedule that everyone else is like doing, as what I'm seeing. With Great Passion, this is going to be a really amazing, fun time. I definitely see that like, with Page of Cups here, it's interesting because I'm definitely seeing that there could be a person who is kind of younger than you that you get into kind of like a passionate relationship with. That's just going to be for some of you. For others of you, children are actually going to be a sense of joy and support in this time. I definitely see that with this surprise coming in the Page of Cups where he's looking at this fish and the fish is popping out and he's kind of like, whoa, what are you doing in there, buddy? There's a feeling that you're going to be very surprised by your interactions with people during this time period. And with Great Passion, it's going to bring a lot of passion into your life. So you might not really expect something someone says, but then someone says something offhand and it fires you up. You know, it brings you this sense of like, wow, you know, I feel like good, or I feel like loving, or I feel romantic, or I feel energized, or I feel, you know, you might even feel a little rebellious in this period of your life. But with support here, this is really indicating that whether it is a younger person that you're dating or young children, I feel for some of you that have kids, this is going to be your child, kind of like you're going to have a closer bond with your specific child in this moment. But for a lot of others of you with Great Passion, especially if you are younger or you're a younger person watching my channel, like if you're, you know, in between like 18 or 30 or something like that, you're going to be in kind of a more passionate, kind of flingy relationship in a year from now. And so with support, this person's going to provide a lot of support as well for you. One thing that's coming through very strongly is a lot of support in your life, right? With this distant friend coming in the next couple months and this younger person energy coming in, it's going to provide a lot of support for you. Now let's get into year 5. Year 5 is going to be interesting because I definitely see that you're going to be working a lot, and in a way it's almost like you're going to be quite successful at what you do and how you're working, but it's going to feel like you're taking on a lot of responsibilities, but it's really not going to feel too burdensome. Like, if you look at this 10 of Wands card, normally the 10 of Wands card represents burdens and stuff. And the first thing I noticed when this card came out, I was like, look how strong his back is, you know? He's like taking these wands over there, but he can basically do all of the activities, or he can take on all these responsibilities like with such ease and such grace, you know? I definitely see that it is what it is interesting, because it's one of those things where you just kind of accept it in year 5. You're just kind of like, yep, I got lots of work to do and I need to do it, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And with desk here, pay attention to your work. This is just indicating your orientation in week 5. What am I saying? Year 5. Your orientation in year 5, basically, like, you're going to be paying a lot of attention to your work. It's interesting because this boot, it's interesting. I'm noticing a correlation with the work here and this boot in the next couple months. If you put in a little effort into your work in these next couple of months, it's going to make this time a lot easier on you. If you put in a little effort now, this time is going to be a lot easier. Not that it's going to be hard. I'm definitely saying in this period of time, it's actually the perfect time for you to work. You have the energy, you have the motivation. For some reason, it's just coming to you in this particular time. I definitely see these bats are kind of cleared away. You know, the thing that you're dealing with here is a dragon, right? And with, it says beware of self-delusion, right? It's almost like saying, like, don't think you are stronger than you are. You know, I'm telling you right now, you're going to be strong. You're going to be able to take care of a lot. But self-delusion is just be realistic about what yourself can handle. You know, you're coming into a phase over here where you are going to be able to work a lot and basically do a lot of damage in your kind of like work life and what's going on there. But it is what it is a card about realism, right? What is going on in your life, accepting what is going on in your life and being aware of that. With being aware of self-delusion, this could be situations where you think you know, maybe you think like, in a sense, you should be doing something else and you're almost deluding yourself into thinking that. Or maybe you are, well, let's just say this. The main thing coming through is it's all about, to me, is like assessing your strength. What can you realistically accomplish and what can you not accomplish? And with self-delusion, it is what it is. It's kind of like looking at like, this period of your life, you can just handle a lot, you know? Self-delusion can also be in the regards of thinking you can't handle a lot, or being like, well, in the past I couldn't handle a lot, so why would I be able to handle a lot now? The truth is, for whatever reason, you are able to handle a lot now, and paying attention to your work is the most important thing in year 5. This is coming up. I definitely see you're probably going to have other periods in your life where you're doing other things. Like, obviously you have this friend coming in right now, and a little bit over here, you know, you're working on some projects. You just have to find the right time to do it. And you have this passionate connection right here with these younger people. But right here, it's just like, this is where the work comes into play. This is where like the hard kind of just manual labor comes into play, basically. And some of you, it's not going to be manual labor. It could be like, you know, maybe you're working on the computer or something like that. It could be any kind of really job. But it is what it is. It's just saying, like, it is what it is. And especially because it's almost like it doesn't faze you in this period of time. It doesn't bother you to just like kind of accept it and get on with the job, you know? Self-delusion can also be like thinking like, well, maybe I need something else in my life, or maybe there's something more. Maybe I need something else. But the thing is, you got to ask yourself, especially in year 5, I think you will, is kind of like, am I okay with doing this for right now? Or do I feel like I need a partner? Or do I feel like I need a vacation? Or do I feel like I need certain things? Or do I feel like I need risk in my life? Or do I feel like I need, you know, more education or something? It's going to be something along those lines that you think you need something other than what's just presently going on in your life. And I definitely see that presently taking care of the responsibilities in your life and being in that present moment and taking care of what needs to get done is going to be the most beneficial in year 5. It's interesting because this could just be as simple of a snapshot, or this could be a period of like 2 or 3 years. But I'm definitely seeing that you really enjoy this time. And so self-deluding yourself that you don't enjoy this work is where you get into trouble. If you think you're the type of person that, oh, well, I don't, you know, I don't like work, or I'm not into work or something, or why am I doing this? Like, I don't feel like myself. Am I boring? Have I lost my edge? None of that's true. You know, this is what you're focusing on right now. And sometimes that's what happens in life. You know, sometimes we just need to focus on the work, you know, focus on what we need to get done. You know, it is what it is, you know? So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Plus you have plenty of playtime right in here with this six of cups and the page of cups. You know, there's a lot of childlike curiosity and play in this period of time. I also see that support could even carry over into this year 5, where you might be supporting some other people on a more practical level, which could be kind of new to you as well. Anyway, it's interesting. With Wonder of Colors, I definitely see you're maybe the type of person that has the full spectrum in your personality, you know, from like hard, grounded worker to youthful, childlike playfulness, you know? You're really kind of the full deal here. And that's really cool. And you really like create that spectrum over the next 5 years. So there's a lot of growth. There's a lot of flow, you know, you're flowing between all the colors of the rainbow as you continue through these next 5 years. I see that you kind of have that kind of evolutionary path to your life too. So that's really, really cool. As far as the reading, I think I'm going to conclude it here. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. It was a pleasure. And if you liked the reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed the reading, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. I post pick-a cards like this once every 1 to 2 weeks. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. Thank you. That was the last one, and I will see you in the next pick-a-card. Bye-bye.